There is a particular kind of silence that follows an unspeakable tragedy. It's a silence that seems to swallow sound, a void where laughter once lived. In the quiet, unassuming town of Villisca, Iowa, that silence fell on a warm June night in 1912, and it has never truly lifted. It clings to the walls of a white frame house on a sleepy street, a place where the past is not a memory, but a permanent, screaming resident. This is the story of the Villisca Axe Murder House. A story that begins with a brutal, unsolved crime and evolves into something far more terrifying, a haunting so profound and so emotionally charged that it has driven seasoned investigators from its doors, weeping and begging for release. The facts of that night are a study in pure horror. On the morning of June 10, 1912, a concerned neighbor discovered the unthinkable. Inside the modest home of the Moore family, 8 people lay dead. Josiah and Sarah Moore. Their 4 children, Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul. And 2 young girls, Lena and Ina Stillinger, who were staying the night as guests. All 8 had been bludgeoned to death with the Moore's own axe, which the killer left leaning against the wall inside the house. Each victim was found in their bed. The children, tucked in, as if the monster who did this had taken a moment to cover them after the deed was done. The investigation was a torrent of chaos and suspicion. A traveling preacher named Kelly was tried and acquitted. A powerful local senator was eyed with quiet suspicion. Dozens of other leads evaporated into the Iowa air. The case grew cold, leaving behind a town shattered by a mystery that would never see justice. But for some, the story was far from over. The house stood, a grim monument to the massacre. New families moved in, but they never stayed for long. They spoke of things that could not be explained. The sound of children's footsteps running in the empty attic. The faint, ghostly tinkle of a music box from a room that held none. Doors would slam shut with violent force. Lights would flicker on and off, casting long, moving shadows down the hallways. The most pervasive presence, they said, was that of the children. Visitors and paranormal investigators report the overwhelming feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. They capture EVP's electronic voice phenomena of childish whispers, sometimes asking to play, other times simply crying. People have felt small, cold hands slip into their own in the pitch-black darkness of the children's bedroom. Some have reported the distinct sensation of a child climbing into bed with them, the mattress indenting as if bearing a tiny, spectral weight. But not all the activity is innocent. A dark, malevolent energy is also said to reside within those walls. A shadow figure is frequently seen standing in the corner of the master bedroom, the very room where Josiah and Sarah Moore were killed. This presence exudes a palpable rage and sorrow, a toxic combination that has driven grown men to panic. Investigators have been scratched. They speak of being overcome with sudden, irrational bursts of anger and despair the moment they cross the threshold. Is this the tormented spirit of the killer, forever bound to the scene of his crime? Or is it a residual echo of the victim's final, terrified moments, playing out on an endless, horrifying loop? Perhaps the house itself absorbed the trauma, and now projects it back onto the living, a psychic wound that will not heal. To walk through the Villisca house today is to walk through a crime scene frozen in time. The rooms are kept sparse, a deliberate emptiness that makes the echoes of the past all the more deafening. Many who enter describe a heavy, suffocating atmosphere that presses down on their chest. They leave with a profound sense of grief that lingers for days, a psychic residue they accidentally carried out with them. The axe may have fallen over a century ago, but in Villisca, the past is a living, breathing thing. It whispers from the attic, it cries in the nursery, and it watches from the shadows with a timeless, sorrowful rage. The victims were laid to rest in the town cemetery, but a vital, terrified part of them never left that house. They are still there, trapped in the endless night of June 9, 1912, waiting for an answer that will never come. So the next time you hear the pitter-patter of little feet in your own home after dark, and you write it off as the house settling, think of Villisca. Think of the 8 souls who went to bed on a quiet summer night and never woke up. And ask yourself, are we ever truly alone in the silence? Or are we just sharing our space with echoes we are not yet equipped to hear? Who do you think still walks the halls of the Villisca Axe Murder House? The innocent spirits of the children, forever at play? Or the dark shadow of the killer, forever trapped by his own evil? The mystery remains, and the haunting continues. If you have a story of a haunted location or an unsolved historical crime from your own hometown, we want to hear about it. Share your stories in the comments below. And if you have the courage to explore more places where history's darkest moments are still painfully alive, make sure you subscribe. The night is full of stories, and we've only just begun to listen. Until next time, stay safe.